My girlfriend said, "The G is for my last name?" I replied. I asked Greg what he thought. Then I quietly packed my bags, left her my key beside a printout of her secret playlist, and forwarded all the screenshots to Greg's actual girlfriend. And I just smiled, because she thinks she can beg me to come back, but her mom is already on her way to help her move out. Original post: I'm 26. My girlfriend Emily is 25. We have been together for 4 years, a roller coaster of breakups and reconciliations. The central issue has always been her infidelity. She cheated on me 2 years ago, and while we've been trying to make it work again, the trust has never fully recovered. Don't miss the twist. Subscribe and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. For the last 2 months, my gut has been screaming at me that it's happening again. The signs are small, but they're there. I've noticed that on the nights we're apart, her Instagram shows her as being active online at 2 or 3 in the morning. This is very unusual for her. She's normally an early-to-bed person. It only happens when I'm not there. When I brought it up to her, she denied it completely. She said the app was glitchy, that she wasn't even using it. She turned it around on me, telling me my trust issues were the real problem and that I needed therapy. The gaslighting was so effective, I almost believed her. Then, a few weeks ago, I found something else. I was using her laptop to listen to music, and I opened her Spotify. She has a habit of creating new playlists for new crushes or partners. It's a little thing she does. And there it was, a new playlist, created a month ago, titled with a single letter G. It was filled with the kind of romantic, longing songs she always chooses when she's in the early stages of a new infatuation. My heart sank. I confronted her about it. I asked her who G was. She laughed it off, a little too quickly. She said it was a playlist for herself. She told me G was the initial of her last name. Her last name starts with a T. The lie was so lazy, so insulting, it was almost funny. Last night, I stayed at her place. I fell asleep around 11 p.m. I woke up suddenly in the middle of the night, for no reason at all. The room was dark, but in the faint glow from the window, I saw her. She was lying next to me in bed, her face illuminated by the screen of her phone. She was startled when I moved, and she immediately shoved the phone under her pillow. She had waited for me to fall asleep so she could chat with him. I just lay there in the dark, my heart pounding. She had brought him into our bed. Not physically, but in a way that felt almost more disrespectful. I didn't say anything. I didn't bother confronting her. What was the point? The lies were so ingrained, so reflexive, that I knew I wouldn't get the truth. I just lay there, feigning sleep, and made a decision. I was done. I just needed to figure out how to leave without my life completely imploding from the stress of it all. Update 1. After the night I caught her on her phone, I was a ghost. I went through the motions for the next 2 days, but the decision to end it had solidified into a cold, hard stone in my chest. She was completely oblivious, acting as if nothing had happened. The blatant disrespect of her actions, doing it right beside me in bed, had finally killed the last vestiges of my love for her. I knew a direct confrontation would be a nightmare. It would be days of her crying, pleading, and manipulating me into staying, and with my current workload, I just didn't have the emotional energy for that battle. I needed a clean break. I needed to leave in a way that left no room for negotiation. That meant I needed irrefutable proof, not just for myself but for the final confrontation. I decided to become a detective. I knew the new man's initial was G. I went back to her Spotify account. In the G playlist, I looked at the songs. One of them, a sappy indie love song, had been added by another user. His username was a generic combination of a name and some numbers. Greg88. G was for Greg. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I went to her Instagram to her followers list. I typed in Greg, nothing. Then I tried searching for people she had recently started following. And there he was. A profile with the same username, Greg88. His profile was public. I scrolled through his pictures. He was a handsome, generic-looking guy. Then I saw a picture from a few weeks ago. It was a group shot, taken at a bar. And in the background, unmistakable, was my girlfriend. I now had a name and a face. My next step was the hardest. I created a fake Instagram account, using a picture of a random, attractive woman. I followed him. He followed me back within an hour. I crafted a message, pretending to be a girl who had seen him at that same bar. I told him he was cute and asked if he was single. His reply came a few minutes later. "It's complicated," he wrote. "I'm sort of seeing someone, but she has a boyfriend." My blood ran cold. He knew about me. And he didn't care. I played my part. I told him that sounded messy but that I was still interested. We messaged back and forth for an hour. He was arrogant. And it was easy to get him to brag. I asked him who the girl was. He told me her name was Emily. He even sent me a screenshot of their conversation from the night before, the one they had while she was lying in bed next to me. The messages were explicit, planning a time to meet up the next day while I was at work. I saved the screenshot. I had everything I needed. I told him I wasn't interested in being a side piece, wished him luck with his complicated situation, and then blocked him. I went home, to her apartment, that afternoon. She was surprised to see me there so early. I didn't waste any time. I sat her down on the couch. "We need to talk about your Spotify playlist," I said calmly. "Gee, you told me it stood for your last name." She laughed nervously. "It does. It's just a playlist for me." "That's funny," I said, my voice flat. Because I asked Greg what he thought. He said it was for him. Her face went white. I showed her my phone, open to the screenshot Greg had sent me. The screenshot of their conversation from the night before, with the timestamp clearly visible. She just stared at it, speechless. The lie was dead. There was no way to spin it, no way to deny it. "You didn't just cheat on me, Emily," I said, standing up. "You did it in my bed, right next to me. You are a ghost to me now." I went into the bedroom and started packing a bag with my things that were at her place. "We are over. And this time, there is no coming back. Don't ever contact me again." I left her sitting on the couch, staring at the proof of a betrayal so blatant, so disrespectful, it was almost unbelievable. Update 2. I walked out of her apartment and didn't look back. The first thing I did was block her number. I knew the pleading calls and texts would start, and I was in no state to deal with them. I went to my own apartment and just sat in the silence, the adrenaline slowly draining out of me, leaving behind a profound, hollow emptiness. The next morning, I woke up with a new resolve. This wasn't just about me anymore. This guy, Greg, had knowingly pursued a woman in a relationship. He had no respect for me, and clearly, no respect for her. And then I remembered something he had said in our conversation. He had a girlfriend of his own. The irony was sickening. It wasn't hard to find her. His Instagram profile had a few pictures of them together, and he had tagged her. Her name was Sarah, and her profile was public. It was filled with happy, smiling photos of them, a perfect couple. I created another anonymous email account. I wrote a short, simple email to the address listed in her bio. The subject was Greg. "Dear Sarah," I wrote, "I am so sorry to be the one to tell you this, but your boyfriend, Greg, has been having an affair with my now ex-girlfriend, Emily. He was fully aware she was in a relationship. I have attached screenshots of their conversations for your reference. I believe you deserve to know the truth." I attached the screenshot Greg had so helpfully provided me, the one showing their plans to meet while I was at work. I hit send, then deleted the email account. Then, I took one final step. I knew Emily would be devastated by the breakup. I knew she would try to spin a story to her friends and family, painting me as the villain. I decided to get ahead of the narrative. I sent a single group text to our closest mutual friends and a separate, more gentle text to her mother, with whom I had always had a good relationship. "I am so sorry to have to tell you all this," I wrote, "but Emily and I have broken up for good. I recently discovered she has been having another affair. I have irrefutable proof. I love her, but I can no longer continue in a relationship with no trust. I wish her the best." I didn't include the screenshots. I didn't need to. The simple, factual statement was enough. I had planted the seed of truth. I had taken control of the story. Then I turned off my phone for the rest of the day. My part was done. The consequences were now theirs to manage. Update 3. A week passed in blessed silence. I had effectively cut myself off from the drama. But the fallout, I soon learned, was explosive. A mutual friend called me to check in. She told me that Emily was a complete wreck. My text had preempted all of her lies. When she tried to tell people that I had left her for no reason, they all knew the truth. She was isolated, her usual support system unwilling to co-sign her victim narrative. But the real drama had happened in Greg's life. My friend told me that his girlfriend, Sarah, had not just dumped him. She had printed out the screenshot of his conversation with Emily and posted it all over the break room at his office, with the caption, "If anyone is looking for a loyal boyfriend, Greg here is available. Just be aware his schedule is complicated." The public humiliation was total. He was a laughingstock at his job. He had tried to call Emily for support, but she, now in the middle of her own crisis, had apparently screamed at him and blocked his number. Their tawdry little affair, built on lies and disrespect, had imploded the moment it was exposed to the light. A week later, I received an email from Emily. It was a long, pathetic plea. She was sorry. She was broken. She didn't know why she did it. She said it was an addiction, a need for validation that she couldn't control. She begged me to meet her, to talk, so she could apologize in person. I knew I shouldn't. But a small part of me needed to see her one last time, to put a final nail in the coffin of our 4-year history. I agreed to meet her at a park. She looked terrible. She had lost weight, and her eyes were empty. She cried as she apologized, telling me how lost she was without me, how Greg meant nothing, how I was the only one she ever truly loved. I listened to the whole performance. When she was done, I just looked at her. "The problem, Emily," I said, my voice quiet, "is that I don't believe you. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. And you're sorry your backup plan imploded. You came back to me because you have nowhere else to go." I stood up. "I hope you get help for your addiction. But I will not be your rehab. We are done. For good this time." I walked away, leaving her on the park bench, a lonely figure in a world of her own making. Final update: it has been 6 months. The silence has been a healing balm. I have thrown myself into my work, and the business has been a welcome distraction. I am in therapy, finally dealing with the trauma of her repeated betrayals and my own weakness in taking her back. I heard through the grapevine what happened to the other players in this drama. Greg quit his job a few months ago. The humiliation was too much to bear. He moved to a different city to start over. Emily is still single. She is in therapy apparently. I hope, for her sake, that it helps. My revenge was not loud or angry. It was quiet and precise. It was the simple act of taking the truth and delivering it to the people who deserved to hear it. I didn't just break up with my girlfriend. I dismantled the entire support system that enabled her behavior. I took away her ability to lie, to manipulate, to play the victim. Last week, I was creating a new playlist on Spotify for a road trip I'm taking. I thought about making a playlist with a single letter for a title, and then I laughed. It was the first time I had thought about the G playlist without feeling a stab of pain. It's just a stupid, pathetic memory now. The revenge wasn't about them. It was about me. It was about finally choosing myself, my dignity, my peace, over the chaotic addiction of her. She thought she could have it all. Her comfortable relationship with me and her cheap thrills on the side. I just made sure that in the end, she was left with nothing. And I was finally free.